Hey guys, just wanted to do another one of these videos, just sharing my thoughts about something. Last time I did that, I asked you guys if you like this format, and I got a lot of positive feedback, so thank you for that. I wanted to this time talk about, yeah, these are mostly shower thoughts. Like in the shower, something comes to my mind, I'm like, I need to share this with my audience. This one is about, and I brought this up in other places as well. It's about the strategies that we have when it comes to doing activism and what works best. And the two methods that I use, I suggest other people use, seem to be contradictory, seem to be working against each other. But I see them as them complementing each other, right? So a lot of people think like I'm very aggressive, very unfriendly because I don't hold my punches when it comes to letting people know what I think about Islam, Christianity, Judaism, Hinduism, woo stuff, dogma, superstition, and I don't hold back. And I think I on purpose go, if I'm one step even further in making sure it's as aggressive as possible, just to make sure that we're not holding anything back, because I don't think these ideas um, deserve to be deserve any respect or any, and nobody needs to hold their punches in this because they have already enjoyed these ideas have already been enjoying a lot of protection. I mean, the walls of around these ideas is so thick that you need to just punch as hard as you can if you want to make any amount of dent, right? But then when I talk to people, to the individuals that believe in these ideas, I'm not aggressive at all. In fact, it's the extreme opposite. So extreme that the people that I attracted to follow me because they thought I'm very aggressive sometimes get so disappointed, and it's in fact worse than a lot of people that they criticize. Like, I think they consider some people Islam apologists, but not as far as defending terrorists' human rights, right? But then when it comes to individuals, I do that, right? Like um, for example, if an ISIS fighter is captured, and it's not in the middle of the war, okay? It's not in the middle of a shooting, right? It's captured. Like, you have disarmed the person, and they're arrested in Iraq, and they want to kill them without much due process. 20-minute hearings, kangaroo courts, not gathering evidence and stuff. I would actually go out of my way and defend that ISIS fighter, right? I would like, where's this guy's lawyer? Right? Like, how do you know? Like, I'm pretty sure a whole bunch of innocent people are getting mixed. And people are like, oh, Armin, you don't understand. It's the middle of the war. Like, this is how you fight these things. If they capture you, they wouldn't do this to you. So why would you do this to them? Um, and I say like, well, what the hell? What's the point of fighting? There's these bad ideas. If we're gonna, like, the whole point of fighting bad ideas is because you're standing for certain values, right? So if you're just gonna abandon those values, like, you already lost. Even if you won the military fight, you already lost the ideological fight, because you're not, you are giving up on the values that you thought that makes a society better. But that's just the most extreme example when it comes to many different other people. And I said it about, like, white nationalists or white supremacists, or other people. This is why a lot of people think, like, I think maybe I'm um, a white, sympathetic to white nationalist people views, because if I meet one of them and talk to them, I'm not gonna, uh, you know, be aggressive towards them as a person, even people that believe the most vilest things, and even if they attack me personally, right? And again, no, actually, this is something that I sometimes were too weak and I got tempted to attack people personally, and I did, because sometimes, I do say that you shouldn't attack people personally, but it's sometimes it's not easy. But just because it's not easy, I'm not excusing it, right? So sometimes I'm pretty sure you can find examples where I went after somebody personally. It's something I'm trying to improve and reduce, right? But I'm just saying that those are extreme examples, right? But then when it comes to much less extreme examples, like Muslim fundamentalists that are not jihadists, right? And then even less than that, Muslims that are moderate Muslims, and not even moderate, nominal Muslims, people that are just Muslim by name, or Muslims that are trying to make excuses for Islam by suggesting that it's compatible with liberal or ideologies, right? Which is nonsense. But I don't. But when I'm talking to them, I try to be as friendly as possible. And then so what's the point of being so aggressive against ideas and being so um, friendly towards the people? Well, the thing is that, and they say, like, okay, here's another thing people say. People say that if you even, okay, yeah, you're talking to them personally, you're being friendly with them, but when you so aggressively talk against their ideas, even if you don't think you're personally attacking them, they see it as you personally attacking them, right? And you're not going to get through. And it's not true. That's not true. When I aggressively attack their ideas, I actually get more Muslims, Christians, and Jewish people wanting to talk to me. I don't get less, I get more. So when people say that if you do that, people are not going to want to talk to you, my experience has been the exact opposite. Another reason I think these two methods are compatible with each other, they're not contradicting each other, is because the main goal of aggressively, one of the reasons why you aggressively attack some ideas, okay, if you aggressively criticize, people say, okay, fine, Armin, aggressively criticize Islam as much as you want, and don't hold back. But why do you have to mock it? Why do you have to insult it? Okay. Well, to that I say, especially to Muslims, I say that I understand that when you are insulting, mocking, ridiculing your ideas, I understand that doesn't really change people's opinion that much. But you have to understand our goal in that situation is something else, right? And the fact that you're getting offended by it, even though I don't think it means that I should stop, it's not really the goal, right? I'm not a sadist. I'm not trying to. I do think, like, when people demand that for somebody else to shut up because they're offended, it's ridiculous. But I also think it's ridiculous to go and try to offend people just for the sake of offending people. Like, why? Why you want to make people upset for no freaking reason? Like, I don't want to do that for if it achieves no other, if it has no other result than offending people. Then why the hell do that? Like, just make people upset? No. So I explained to Muslim, like, okay, listen, I understand this is upsetting you, right? But this is, for us, okay, freedom of expression is as close to what we consider sacred as possible, right? So what you feel, sacred is the wrong word for here for a lot of people, but for them to understand, like, the way you feel about certain ideas when we attack them, we feel like that about freedom of expression, okay? Because everything we do depends on that, right? So when people draw lines and tell us that this is the stuff that you can't say, then we have to say those things. And sometimes we say those things not in that activism is not to change. I understand that it's not going to change any Muslim's opinion or any Christian's opinion or any Jewish person's opinion. Like, if you go and insult their prophets or their gods, that's not going to make a Christian be like, maybe I'm wrong. Okay, maybe they're right. Like, it's not going to do that. But that's not what we're trying to do. In that example, we're trying to be like, you drew some red lines, and you in some places you're almost getting close to passing it as a law. In some places it is already a law, and we need to cross these lines because we don't want you to draw lines for what we can and cannot say. The goal is to break taboos and make these lines. In fact, when people draw lines in order to get something not expressed, we want it to backfire. So the practice of drawing lines on what people can and cannot say, people could see by experience that it backfires. So they stop drawing these freaking lines, right? Um, another point that I make regards why these two views are methods are compatible is that a lot of people say, like, okay, fine, Armin, you attack Islam, but you defend Muslim rights. You defend them when they're being oppressed. We see that you're doing that, okay, while you're attacking Islam. But your anti-Islam narrative is feeding into the people that want to abuse or um, violate Muslims' rights, and stuff like that, and hurt them or cause violence against them and stuff like that, right? And it's the other way around, okay? It's the other way around because um, it's kind of like a funnel, right? They actually work with each other perfectly, right? We have a lot of people that are anti-Muslim bigots. Again, I don't use Islamophobia. That's a nonsense term to use. Okay, anti-Muslim bigot though is the real thing, and it's huge. Okay, and when you say anti, there are a lot of atheists that are humanists, and they also don't hold back against speaking against Islam, but they are also humanists. They understand that they're on our side. They understand what we're trying to do and why we're doing it. But when you use anti-Islamic narrative, you do attract a lot of bigots, right? Because it sounds like what a lot of people call a dog whistle, right? So people saying, like, a lot of bigots think like, yeah, these are our people. Like, and they start following you on Twitter, on Facebook, on YouTube, and then they follow you, and then all of a sudden they notice, like, when China starts putting Muslims in concentration camps, or when in India you see that the government is trying to treat Muslims like second class citizens. You call them out, and um, you speak against it, and a lot of them leave when they see that. A lot of them are like, I thought this is not what I signed up for. Like, what the hell is this, right? But there are, I don't know, 10%, maybe 5%, maybe even 1% of these bigots that you attracted originally. They're like, huh, I didn't know you could be against Islam and still defend their rights. I didn't know that was an option. Like, a lot of people don't seem to know that's an option. So you're introducing them to a new way of thinking, and they stick by. And a lot of them change the way they think about fighting ideas while defending the people that believe those ideas, right? A lot of them leave, a lot of them go out and say, yeah, and also start being your, number one enemies, and start asking other people to stop following you, which is fine. They're usually great promoters of you, because the people that hate you the most, can't stop talking about you. They just start talking about you for free, and they're your number one promoters. And another thing is that, okay, so what another point is that, well, how does this come across to Muslims, right? Muslims, the way I look at it is that there are Muslims that, if you're more on the fundamentalist side, you probably care more about defending Islam than Muslims being oppressed or killed or anything like that. In fact, Muslims being killed for preserving Islam, to them it seems like a beautiful thing. These are martyrs that are dying for God, right? And then, but the other side, you have the more moderate side that I understand that first example is a very extreme position, but there are some people that think like that. But there are a lot more. Most Muslims, I think believe that this is horrible the way Muslims are being treated, right? And if your main agenda is that to help Muslims not be oppressed, then I would like to tell them, like, listen, which one is worse to you? Me saying something insulting about your prophet, or Muslims being discriminated against, right? Is being offended about something you heard that you probably choose to hear because I didn't come to you, you came to me. And if you ever signal to me that you don't want to listen to me, I'm not forcing my content on you. People that find us and listen to us, they chose to listen to us. We never force anybody to listen to our content, right? So I said, which one is worse? You being offended, or people's feelings being hurt by what we say, or Muslims being treated badly, right? Because if Muslims being treated badly is the main thing that you're worried about, then you have to understand that there are a lot of people that are against Islam and will always be against Islam. Don't you want me and our team that is also against Islam at least suggest to the people that are against Islam that we don't have to be against Muslims while we're against Islam? Isn't that a good thing that we're doing? Like, if you can't convince people to stop hating Islam, wouldn't you at least want us to step in and show them that, like, look, there's an alternative way on fighting against Islam? So a lot of people think that we are, the gateway to people becoming anti-Muslim, but it's the other way around. We are the gateway for anti-Islam people to not be anti-Muslim, right? I mean, and who cares if we're anti-Islam if we're convincing more and more people that you don't have to be anti-Muslim if you're anti-Islam? But so, but there are some Muslims that feel like, no, you know what? I actually care more about the fact that you're anti-Islam than anti-Muslim, because Islam matters more than Muslims. People's afterlife, and changing people from Muslim to ex-Muslim and potentially risking their eternal life is worse than what them going to jail or being killed, or something else, because that's this life, which is temporary, and you're risking their afterlife, which is eternal. So I care about that more. So that's why I'm against you more than I'm against those bigots. On which this is, hard to. It's a good thing this is the minority of them, because this is really hard to argue against. But one last attempt I would have at this, a person like this would be like, wait, Islam is going to win anyways, in your opinion. So who am I to, like, in your opinion, based on your worldview, who am I to stop God's religion, right? Like, Islam will be victorious, and the whole world will be Islam. So just let me do what I'm doing. One last thing I want to add to this is, um, so when I talk to other Muslims, they're like, listen, the whole freedom of expression thing is ridiculous, because free speech is not hate speech, free speech covers hate speech, by the way. Anybody that says that, free speech does not include hate speech, tell them, like, it does, actually. Even the speech that I don't like, even racist and bigoted speech that I don't like, is still covered under free speech. And, like, why do you want? And they say, why do you want that? You want freedom to insult people? You want freedom to, for you want even freedom for people that you don't like, the ideas that you don't like, freedom for people that are bigots? Why would you want that? And, like, listen, what this is, if you give this up, there's nothing you could fight for. Neither me or you, right? Like, you don't want to give authority to people to control speech. I don't understand how people don't see how important this is. And this is one example. I don't think it's the best example, but I just want to give it just in case. I see if it works, and let you guys could let me know if this is a good example to use in future. I just thought about this today, so I don't know if it's going to be. Maybe you could come up with a better example. But I say, like, listen, sugar is really bad for you. Okay. It's a bad idea to have a lot of sugar in your diet, right? I'll give you my old example as well after this, but I just want to. I know my old example doesn't work with Muslims, right? But do you want the government to come and monitor how much sugar you're having every day and tell you not to have not to consume sugar? Do you want to give the government that authority? Right? It's a bad thing. Yeah, it's bad. Um, we should limit the amount of sugar that we're consuming every day. But do you want the government to stop everything that is bad? Like, when you give the government that authority, how much influence you are permitting them to have on your life? The example I used to give was adultery. Like, you're like, hey, do you agree that cheating on your wife is a bad thing? And people will say, yeah, that's a bad thing. Like, do you want the government to make that illegal? And that usually works with people, but if I talk to Muslims, they might say yes. So that doesn't work on Muslims. Yeah. So, but most non-Muslims are like, yeah, no, I think that the government making cheating on your wife illegal, that's too much government involvement in your personal life. Even though I agree it's a bad thing, right? But given that that doesn't work with Muslims, I'm now gonna start using this. Like, given that we know how bad sugar is for you, um, if the government makes consuming too much sugar illegal, it might be some people might decide to consume a lot of sugar to protest this. I wouldn't. I think I mean I'm brave enough to risk burning the Quran to uh, cross the red line that they're drawing from us. But sugar, I'm not brave enough to consume to add that much sugar. That's really bad, because it's really really bad. You should really manage that if you're not watching how much sugar you're taking. But anyways, we're getting off track now. But let me know what you think. Um, Let me know if there's a better example I could use to make that point. I think it's a good example, right? But anyways, this was supposed to be a 10-minute video. It's now 20 minutes, so I'm gonna stop. Thank you guys for your feedback. I'm enjoying doing this with you guys. I read your comments on the last video, and it was very nice, very supportive. So yeah, let me know if you have any feedback.